I agree. I agree, because I just don't believe that they're ever going to let it get to the level in this country of like a republic where people are outside of the government buildings rioting and there's actual revolution in this country. If they ever went to that hard option and they were able to get outside of D.C. and, the halls of Congress or the Supreme Court building or any of that stuff, the Capitol, let me tell you what they do. They go right to the continuity of government program. They get in their little doomsday planes and they start running ops against the people. They don't crumble. They don't crush. And they would actually like at some point for this democratic government to become completely destabilized so they can further their goal of world government. And they would love to combine with Canada and Mexico. That's why we have all these other soft, think tanks and organizations like the Securities and Prosperities Partnership. And that's why the Trans-Texas Corridor lives to this day under a different name and a different contract. You see what I'm saying? So it only helps them. You go to that hard option, I'll guarantee you the acceleration is 10 times as quick for their quote-unquote New World Order. Go ahead.
And Jason, I wanted to also touch on, a couple weeks ago, you brought up the topic of Project NATO.
Yes.
And I wanted to augment that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this camera that's in everybody's living room, and I think something that's being overlooked in that discussion is that we have, like, let's say, for example, Apple, all their laptops and all their computers have webcams built in on them. A lot of the laptops, it's the same issue.
No, it's not the same issue, and let me tell you why. It could be the same issue, and I said this to people. I'm one of those guys that does put tape over the little camera. I have tape over all my little cameras, and I did mention that because I covered NATO probably for a week straight. Not only NATO, but the game. So there were a couple times I would talk about the laptops. Here's the difference. The Xbox One is mostly a higher definition cam. It's not one of these 1.3 megapixel cams that is standard in most laptops now. Now they're maybe up to 2 megapixels, but they're not much higher than that. I'm assuming that this thing is at least a 5 megapixel camera. Secondly, this thing has internal software that has facial recognition, and the audio soundboard has voice recognition. That's not in every laptop computer. Now, that's not to say if they don't want to capture things, they can't run it through third-party software and do the same exact thing. What I'm saying is that this is real-time motion detection, biometrics in your home at all times. Okay? At all times. And people are not going to just pull out the internet cable. People are not going to be hip to the fact that even if you pull out the internet cable, they could record you get the data on there through your voice. If you cover up the camera. This thing is the highest level of spy device in your home at this point, and millions of people will get it for Christmas, and that's what's really scary to me. This is on another level than a laptop, in my opinion.
And just one more point. I was watching today at press conference with Obama, and he's talking about, I think Alex did touch on this earlier, but he was talking about that, there's no CIA over there doing psyops over there, when Bush and Cheney, just about 6 months ago, were commenting that they were out there. And now here Obama's commenting, no, it's not the case.
Yeah, it seems like more lies. Obama will tell you one thing and does almost the exact opposite every single time. I challenge anybody out there to show me one thing that he said that he was going to do that was positive for the people. There's plenty of things that he said that he was going to do that's negative for the people that he followed through with. But that's overall positive for the people that he went through. It's zero. It's nil. It's none. It's non-existent. I thank you for the call, Brad. Let's go to Guy in Texas. Guy, you're on the line. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jason, just a quick question. Just wanted to know your view on how the globalists, if they want to take over the world, how they would take over such countries as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, those Middle East countries that are there, Dubai, 6-7 countries, the UAE. How are they going to control these people that are sitting on top of pretty much the world with the oil and the natural gas resources? How are they going to...
Well, they've economically sure. They've economically destabilized a lot of them just in the last 6 months. Dubai is now almost a ghost town, and all those people that had moved there and bought property are fleeing the country now because it's not just like civil court. They'll go to criminal jail if they can't pay their bills in that country. So ghost towns popping up everywhere in Dubai. That's not good for the United Arab Emirates. Number two, Saudi Arabia is really somebody that was willing to work with us in the past. They were our allies on so many levels. Most of the hijackers from 9/11 were funneled through visa departments in Saudi Arabia. So at some point they think that they're our ally. You know what I mean? Prince Faisal, all these other guys. So they're not the biggest worry. But then they're waking up a little bit because they realize they just got screwed over financially. However, it's a lot more difficult for them right now to stand up and say something because the U.S. has a massive military presence now in two of the largest nations outside of Saudi Arabia there, Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, if we're able to basically do what we're trying to do and destabilize Iran and put that under U.S. control and really international control, it's UN control, it's global governance control, it's New World Order control, well, then you have a huge chunk of the Middle East that is willing to go by the way of a Eurasian Union. They won't have a choice. In other words, Pakistan's already on board. The only objectors, I think, might be India, and they would like to softly bring Saudi Arabia into the fold without military conflict. And I think they're going to be able to do so by saying that, hey, you guys are going to be the apex of this Eurasian Union. You're going to be the example. So that's how I think that they're going to integrate Saudi Arabia into this quote-unquote New World Order. I think that they're already integrated in some sense. They got a little slap in the face lately with the economy and the shooting down of the gas prices. But if you believe, people out there now are predicting that it could go up to $250 a barrel, and a lot of the propaganda suggests that they're going to do that, especially that Earth 2100, when they start showing gas prices leaping up to $5 and $6 again by 2012 and 2013. So I think
that's how they're going to. That's how they're going to strangle the people with the money. Everything's going to have to do with the money. That's why they're taking it away from us. They don't want us to have money. That's why they tax us so much, tax us for no reason.
No, I agree.
They just don't want us to have money. Money, you can start a problem with these people. They don't want a problem.
Well, it's really freedom because the money is what enables us. Money is just a tool, just like anything else. And money enables us to have land, to eat healthily, to be educated.
And that's what they take away every time.
Yes,
every
exactly.
Time. The middle class gets a little higher. It's a problem. The middle class does a little better. The lower class do a little better. They shut the spigot off. Next thing you know, there's a recession. We can't do any better. Every time we start to get ahead with the money, they cut it off.
That's absolutely correct.
Can you see things? But you can't see patrols going around the Middle East countries. I mean, their own.
Well, I'll get to that on the other side. I'll get to that on the other side. What kind of patrols will we see through the Middle East? And I think there'll be soft level patrols, but we'll talk about it. It's the Infowarrior.